Assalamualaikum, this is me Hanan Wakil, and today I'm gonna read the essay The Harms That Good Men Do, which is written by Bertrand Russell. I'm gonna explain this essay. 100 years ago, there lived a philosopher named Jeremy Bentham, who was universally recognized to be a very wicked man. So here Bertrand Russell is saying that he knew a philosopher and his name was Jeremy Bentham. And according to universally recognized means according to every person, he was recognized to be a very wicked man. But why he was known and called to be a very wicked man? I remember to this day the first time that I came across his name when I was a boy. It was in a statement by the Rev. Sidney Smith to the fact that Bentham thought people ought to make soup of their dead grandmothers. Bentham said that, according to Rev. Sidney Smith, Bentham said that he ought to make that people should have to make the soup of their dead grandmothers. So why this thought came in the mind of Bentham? This practice appeared to me as an undesirable from a culinary as from a moral point of view. So if I will tell you about the Bertrand Russell, he was a person who was having the characteristics of moral, and he was a moralistic person who hated degrading humankind. So he always raised his voice towards the people who degrade humankind, who kill, who hurt humanity. So, according to Bertrand Russell, it was a wrong thought from a culinary as from a moral point of view. And I therefore conceived a bad opinion of Bentham. So according to him, now Bentham is a bad person too. Long afterwards, I discovered that the statement was one of those reckless lies in which respectable people are wont to indulge in the interest of virtue. So now he's saying that he also discovered that we are thinking that if a person is a good person, we are thinking that because he's helping us. But maybe the person who is helping us is helping for their own benefits. Maybe he's not helping us for their own sake. Maybe he's not helping for the reward. Maybe he's just helping for the great reputation in the society. And thus we are thinking that he's a good person. But no, he's not a good person. He's just pretending to be a good person. So we should have to observe and justify and recognize which is the good person and which is the person who's pretending to be a good. So people are wont to indulge in interest of virtue. I also discovered what a really serious charge against him was. It was no less than this, that he defined a good man as a man who does good. So he defined as a good man who does good. Everyone knows that a person who do good is a good person. But no, this definition, as the reader will perceive at once, if he is right-minded. So if a person who is having the positive mind and positive thoughts, he will take every person as a good person. But if a person who is having negative thoughts every time, he will take all the good persons also as a negative person. So, is subversive of all true morality. How much more exalted is the attitude of Kant, who lays it down that a kind action is not virtuous if it springs from affection for the beneficiary, but only if it is inspired by the moral law. So Kant is also saying that it is not a kind action if someone is showing affection for its own benefits. If someone is showing their kindness or kind action for its own benefits, not for the sake of virtue, so that person is not a good person, which is of course just as likely to inspire unkind actions. We know that the exercise of virtue should be its own reward, and it seems to follow that the enduring of it on the part of the patient should be its own punishment. Kant, therefore, is more sublime moralist than Bentham, and has suffrages of all those who tell us that they love virtue for its own sake. It is true that Bentham fulfilled his own definition of a good man. He did much good. So, Bentham had got the studies of ethics and morality from her grandmother because his mother and fathers already died. So, Bentham is also spreading the humanity, kindness, and morality knowledge to everyone in the society. And so he's telling and justifying and recognizing and telling the points that how to differentiate between a good person and a bad person. The 40 middle years of the 19th century in England were years of incredibly rapid progress, materially, intellectually, and morally. At the beginning of the period comes the Reform Act, which made Parliament representative of the middle class, not as before of the aristocracy. So here it is one more thing Brother Russell is telling. He is telling and denoting, indicating the society in which he is living. So that is the reason why he's also writing what was happening at the time in the parliament and the political issues also he was also describing in this essay. Because according to the politics and according to the political issues and according to the parliamentary and according to the laws, our society is also changing, which made Parliament representative of the middle class, not as before of the aristocracy. This act was the most difficult of the steps toward democracy in England and was quickly followed by other important reforms, such as abolition of slavery in Jamaica. So there are so many things that should have to be abolished. New things were coming, like abolition of slavery in Jamaica. It also happened in America also